Now at 5, after shootings in several schools nationwide, we'll look at the measures some area schools are taking to keep kids safe.
FDA's handling of the baby formula recall. I'm Natalie Brand at the White House with when the president says he got word of the crisis and how moms are trying to help each other find supply.
While the investigation continues into everything that happened in the Uvalde, Texas school shooting, we wanted to know what local districts are doing to keep staff and students safe. This is KOAM News at 5. As more information is released from Uvalde, officials with the Nyosho and Joplin school districts say they'll be reviewing their existing safety plans. Over the past several years, districts have added extra safety precautions like secured entrances that require visitors to check in before they're allowed access to the school buildings.
You know, environmental design is a big thing, and it's a fine line because you want the school to be secure, but you also want it to be a positive learning environment. You don't want it to feel like a fortress. And we've made some capital improvements to some of our schools to facilitate visitor check-in.
Tonight at 6, we're going to hear more about current safety precautions already in place. Newton County, Missouri authorities charged the president of the Nyosho Youth Football League with stealing tens of thousands of dollars in league funds. According to a probable cause affidavit, league president Stuart Pace acknowledged to authorities that he misused funds in a checking account. The amount of the theft is unclear, but the charging document says it's more than $25,000. 99 years ago, the Jefferson Highway was formed in Crawford County, Kansas. At the time, it was christened by 3 girls breaking bottles of milk, tea, and water on it. The highway is now known as Highway 69, and today at the corner of Highway 69 and 47 in Franklin, also known as Gennardi's Corner, people gathered to recreate the event and celebrate the highway's history.
And we just love bringing people back to the area and seeing what we've done and how we've rebuilt the community. And we did that through the help of everyone. It wasn't just the Franklin residents.
Again, the Jefferson Highway, now Highway 69, runs through 7 states. Let's check in with Nick Kelly for a first look at the weather.
And like Doug promised the other day, Dow, a lot of clouds to start the morning out, but we cleared things out nicely throughout the day. Looking at mostly sunny skies from our vantage point to 7th range line from the east side of Joplin. No threatening weather whatsoever throughout the course of the day or to get this evening started thanks to high pressure working across the Kansas-Nebraska line. But to the north of that, we've got our next cold front that will start to play a big role in the forecast as we go deeper into this coming weekend. In the meantime, temperatures are pretty good, mid to upper 70s across much of the area. As we get past sunset, though, with that high pressure in place, we'll fall through the 70s, 60s, down to the lower to middle 50s. So we got a chilly start to our Friday, but we're going to warm things up nicely while we keep it dry to start the weekend out. Unfortunately, Down, more rain and thunderstorm chances are ready to return with some heavy amounts possible by the middle of next week. We'll break all this down in full weather coming up.
See you then. Authorities in Oklahoma are revealing new details about yesterday's deadly mass shooting at a Tulsa hospital. They say the suspect, Michael Lewis, received back surgery 2 weeks ago at the St. Francis Hospital complex. Then yesterday he returned, targeting the doctor who performed the operation, armed with an AR-15 style rifle he bought yesterday and a handgun he bought 3 days ago. That doctor was killed, along with a patient, a receptionist, and another doctor. Authorities say Lewis also took his own life. A grand jury in New York has decided to indict the man accused of killing 10 people and injuring 3 at a Buffalo supermarket. Peyton Gendron is indicted on charges of state domestic terrorism and hate crimes that would carry a mandatory sentence of life in prison. He's also charged with attempted murder and with using a weapon while committing a felony. He's pleaded not guilty to all charges. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers are still trying to find common ground on gun reform measures. The full House could vote next week on a bill called the Protecting Our Kids Act. It would clamp down on gun trafficking, encourage safe gun storage, restrict large capacity ammunition feeding devices, and raise the legal age to buy certain guns to 21. President Biden plans to address the nation tonight at 6:30, focusing on gun violence. We plan to air that speech live right here on KOAM. The FDA now faces an audit over the nation's baby formula crisis. This comes as the Biden administration is trying to ramp up federal efforts to boost supply, today unveiling a new way for Americans to track its progress. In the meantime, one mom has launched a nonprofit to help others who are struggling to find formula. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
The Health and Human Services Inspector General will look into the FDA's handling of the Abbott infant formula recall to determine whether the agency followed the proper inspections and recall process at the Abbott facility in Michigan that's led to nationwide shortages.
I don't think anyone anticipated the impact of the shutdown of one facility.
During a meeting with formula manufacturers Wednesday, President Biden said he was not aware how severely the Abbott plant closure affected U.S. supply until April, about 2 months after the facility closed.
This can't happen again.
Mother of 3, Lindsay Gill, has an infant who needs formula.
I look at the bottle that he didn't quite finish and I think, should I save that? Will he have enough for the morning?
Gill started a nonprofit to help moms in need. Her focus lately has been organizing weekly formula drives in Washington, D.C.
They keep saying it could be through the end of the year. It could be through the summer. All we're doing is really just mom to mom right now, trying to help each other out.
Thursday, the White House launched a new website to track federal action to get more formula on store shelves. Starting next week, shipments from the UK and Australia will deliver more than 680,000 pounds of formula products. But that's just a fraction of what the U.S. still needs. The FDA also says it expects almost 250,000 cans from the German company Nestle to be available this June and July. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
For those who want to track the Biden administration's actions on baby formula, that website is at whitehouse.gov/formula. Still ahead, keeping our kids safe on the road.
Teenagers are more likely than older drivers to cause a crash, but some vehicles can help avoid an accident. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the cars experts are recommending for young drivers.
And next in Health Watch, Pfizer requests emergency use authorization for its COVID vaccine for young children. Topping today's Health Watch, Kansas is getting a suicide prevention and mental health crisis hotline along with mobile crisis intervention teams to help respond to the calls. Governor Laura Kelly today signed the bipartisan legislation creating both. Kelly said, quote, "There's no doubt having mobile crisis teams just a phone call away will save lives." The 988 hotline will be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and will be within the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline Centers network. COVID vaccines for more than 20 million of the youngest Americans will be one step closer to reality. Pfizer has submitted its application for emergency use authorization for its vaccine for children 6 months to 5 years old. Preliminary data shows it's more than 80% effective in preventing symptomatic infection with no serious side effects. Reporter Nikki Batiste has more.
Nita Farahaney is tired of waiting for a COVID vaccine for her 2-year-old daughter, Electra.
I think those of us with children under 5 are like, hey, wait a minute, our kids can't be vaccinated. This isn't a choice.
Her 7-year-old daughter, Aristella, has already had 2 Pfizer doses.
How have you juggled having a 7-year-old who's vaccinated and then a 2-year-old who can't get one?
It's been a really tough balance.
An FDA advisory panel is scheduled to meet June 14th and 15th to consider versions of both the Pfizer and Moderna mRNA vaccines for young children. If the panel authorizes either or both vaccines, the CDC would have to sign off, and shots could go into arms early this summer. The Pfizer vaccine for children aged 6 months to 4 years is 1/10 the strength of the adult version. It would require 3 doses, the first 2 21 days apart and the final dose given 2 months later. Moderna's vaccine for 6 months to 5-year-olds has a higher concentration of mRNA vaccine and would only require 2 shots.
Parents should be excited about this. I think that this is going to give them a new opportunity to explore the world with their kids without worrying that they're going to get very sick from COVID.
Farahaney and her husband, Thede Loader, are frustrated by what they say is a lack of guidance from public health agencies on how to keep children under 5 safe.
We have an entire generation of children under 5 who cannot yet be vaccinated, who we all have a duty to protect.
Nikki Batiste, CBS News.
Moderna has already submitted data for its vaccine, which was 51% effective in preventing illness in children between 6 months and 2 years of age, and 37% effective in 2 to 5-year-olds. Smokers who live in the South or West are significantly less likely to receive help quitting smoking compared to smokers who live in the Northeast. Researchers from the University of Texas also found seniors were more likely to receive help than smokers under age 30. A new study in the journal Neurology finds Black and Hispanic people are more likely to die in the first months after certain types of stroke than the population as a whole. Researchers say in particular Hispanic people who have a stroke caused by bleeding in the brain have a 10% higher risk of death in the first month. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, the Biden administration forgives student loans for former students of a for-profit university.
But first, we're dry tonight. We'll be dry for tomorrow, but rain chances eager to return soon. Forecast next. We have kept things pretty quiet, even though we had a lot of cloud cover to start the day out, like Doug advertised the other night. They were quick to clear on out as we went throughout the course of the day. Looking back at the Skywatch storm tracker over the past, ever since midnight, actually. Again, we had quite a bit of cloud cover. Any big rain or storms staying across central southern Oklahoma, down into Texas, and working into the deep south this morning. But we thankfully enjoyed high pressure on top of the region. That kept us quiet for today. It cleared out the sun, and temperatures were fairly good in response to that. We had temperatures going from the upper 70s to near 80 the other day. Make that upper 50s this morning. I think we might hit lower 50s for tonight, but we did get back into the upper 70s this afternoon. We're looking good right now, so take you outside. Let's look from Indigo Sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, 7th and Rangeline. A lot of the same, which is a good thing in this case. 77, a drop with the north wind at 10. But look at our humidity, 42%. So high pressure, keeping that north breeze in place and dry air in place. Actually feels good to be out and about as we get this evening underway. Everyone's in the mid to upper 70s. A couple of exceptions near Table Rock Lake. They're dropping into the lower 70s already, but everybody will be following suit as we go throughout the evening. 70s, 62 by 10, 59 by midnight. Most of us in the lower to middle 50s as we go into tonight. Again, that's because we'll continue with clear skies to start the evening out. We've got high pressure keeping us quiet for tonight and tomorrow, but at the surface we got this cold front that will build over the next few days and come at us slowly as we go through the weekend and into next week. Couple that with the jet stream setup starting to become more westerly. That's going to allow this vigorous upper level low to start sending energy, quite a few bursts of energy along the passing jet. That is also going to help aid in returning rain chances, but thankfully not for tonight and not for your Friday as we get the weekend started. We'll continue with clear skies this evening to start things out, but again, it's the clear skies and the light breeze. That'll drop us back into the lower to middle 50s as we get your Friday morning started. We'll continue with just partly sunny skies throughout the course of the day. Any rain chances you saw on the future track, they're all staying to the south and southwest of the region, so we are looking good for our Friday lining up for us. 54 in the morning with a light east breeze during the day. That'll take us to 74 by noon and pushing us to 78. Then it starts to get interesting as we head towards Saturday. That front building to the north will start edging closer, and with upper level energy finally kicking in, we'll watch for any thunderstorm chances. But I gotta be honest with you, as we go through tomorrow night into Saturday morning, the bulk of that wants to stay out to the west. But as we go deeper into the day, we'll watch for some afternoon thunderstorm chances. But this is going to be the start of a rainy regime because we'll deal with thunderstorm chances Saturday night late going into Sunday. Then we'll do it again Monday. We got rain chances Tuesday. You're kind of getting the picture here. Wednesday and even going into Thursday with a few thunderstorms in the morning. But by the time we go into the middle of next week, rain chances could certainly add up anywhere from an inch to potentially 3 to 4 inches. I know we picked up a lot of rain in the month of May. We've already picked up an inch for the month so far. So we better enjoy the dry time tonight and tomorrow with highs near 78 now before the rain chances really ramp up. At least it'll keep us in the 70s and 80s for highs.
That's one thing, I guess, but boy, it's going to be soggy out there.
No doubt about it.
Thanks. Here's a look at our tower camera sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction as work continues on the KOAM More Power project. Check it out anytime on our website, koamnewsnow.com/power. Coming up, a list of the safest cars for teenage drivers. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Kenneth Whelan served in the U.S. Army from 1955 to 57. St. Paul, Kansas native was stationed in Germany, and we salute Corporal Kenneth Whelan, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the Biden administration is canceling $5.8 billion in federal student loan debt for former Corinthian college students. The Department of Education announced 560,000 borrowers would get relief. This includes students who attended the for-profit Corinthian colleges from its founding in 1995 to its closure in April of 2015. A classic American auto brand gets a jolt to its image. Buick announced a series of major changes as the brand shifts to an all-electric vehicle lineup. The brand, owned by General Motors, says it'll release its first EV for North American drivers in 2024. The company also says it plans to sell only electric vehicles by the end of the decade. Even though summer doesn't officially begin for 3 weeks, the summer driving season is here, and that means more Americans are hitting the road, which of course leads to more accidents. Teenagers are at the highest risk, but a new report is identifying vehicles that can help keep them safe. Bradley Blackburn reports.
Slow motion test video shows just how powerful and destructive a collision can be, and often it's a teenager behind the wheel during a crash. In fact, teens are 3 times more likely to be involved in a fatal accident compared to older drivers. That's why experts say parents need to consider the right kind of car for younger drivers.
A big part of the reason why teen drivers are more at risk of crashing is their inexperience.
David Zuby is with the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, which teamed up with Consumer Reports to create a list of safe vehicles for teen drivers. There are 70 used and new cars ranging in price from $6,000 to $39,000. You won't find any high-speed sports cars or extra-large vehicles that can be hard to control. All the cars performed well during crash tests, have high reliability scores, and can brake from 60 miles per hour to 0 in 145 feet or less. They also have electronic stability control, which can prevent an accident.
We're trying to promote the idea that cars for teens should have features to help them avoid being in crashes.
That includes auto braking, found in many of the newer vehicles on the list.
We always say buy as much safety as you can afford, and automatic emergency braking is a wonderful backup for a new driver that's building that experience of braking distances.
Supply chain issues and inflation are driving up car prices, but experts say the purchase of a safe vehicle is money well spent. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Elvis has left the church. The licensing company that controls the name and likeness of Elvis Presley has ordered some Las Vegas chapels to stop using the King during ceremonies. Authentic Brands Group says it wants to partner with the chapels and for them to use officially licensed material. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, more victims of the Uvalde, Texas school shooting are laid to rest. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more details on how some area schools are keeping students safe. Plus, a Joplin-based organization receives an award for its work helping the community, and it's opening night for the Joplin Outlaws. We'll have a preview of their game against Nevada. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Hope you get a chance to get out and enjoy this dry weather we're having at the moment, because it's not going to last forever.
Yeah, at least we'll keep it dry for tonight and to get the weekend started tomorrow with partly sunny skies, highs near 78. Temperatures will be in the mid 70s to about the lower 80s for much of the next several days, Dal, but that's because a lot of clouds in the forecast and numerous days of rain. Chances that we'll certainly keep an eye on as we head into the first full week of June.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.